Drew Sparks could hear the retro arcade before he saw it. The new beacon on Neon Falls' rain-slick main drag hummed like a chorus line of CRT tubes, broken occasionally by the crack of bumper hits and the purr of quarter-hungry pinball tables. A neon sign above the door announced Level 1 in bubble letters. Under the glow, a knot of invited guests milled about, drinks in hand, waiting for the launch event to shift from awkward chatter to scoreboard bragging rights. Drew was here on assignment, but no one would have guessed it from the grin he wore. 41 years old, nostalgia columnist for the Falls Chronicle, he'd spent the past decade turning childhood ephemera into word count. The invitation from arcade owners Maya and Theo Rivera promised a playable museum of yesterday with tomorrow's upgrades. Drew came to chronicle that sweet spot where grown-ups tried to time travel by joystick. Inside, the aroma was equal parts ozone, sugar, and furniture polish. Rows of cabinets, original and lovingly refurbished, flanked the walls. Gallagher, Rampage, Street Fighter II, each screen attracting clusters of guests in pastel wristbands. But the main stage sat dead center, a gleaming custom pinball machine called Thunder Tunnel, surrounded by velvet ropes like a sports car at an auto show. Above its mirrored glass, animated LEDs spelled out Launch Party 1 Up. Victor Lane stood beside his creation, soaking in compliments like bonus multipliers. 17 years earlier, he'd coded the cult hit Quick Switch for the ZX Spectrum. Now, greyer and richer, he specialized in high-tech retro tables with augmented reality flourishes. Rumor said his company, Lane of Fire, had already fielded bids from Vegas casinos to adapt Thunder Tunnel into a gambling machine. His publicist, a hawk-eyed woman named Celeste Bryn, guarded him from over-enthusiasm, angling cell phone cameras to capture optimal angles of the table and its architect. Drew drifted closer. Victor noticed and extended a hand. Drew Sparks, the inkslinger himself, thought you'd be taller. I never leveled up my height stat, Drew quipped. Thanks for the invite. I loved your ZX titles. Then you'll appreciate the Easter eggs in here, Victor said, tapping the glass. Real solenoids, real flippers, but the rule set's adaptive. It learns your playstyle. A wiry guy with a tool belt, Jax Garvey, the arcade's electrician, leaned in to tweak something under the cabinet. He shot Victor a thumbs up, wiped his palms on cargo shorts, and melted back into the crowd. Theo Rivera grabbed a mic and asked people to gather. A hush, broken by the lingering bleep of an unattended frogger, trickled across the parquet floor. Gamers and game-curious, Theo boomed. Thunder Tunnel's about to light up. Victor will christen it with the first ball. Phones rose. Victor theatrically pulled the plunger, but it refused to budge. He frowned, tried again, and the spring gave a metallic screech. A few guests chuckled. Drew noticed Victor's jaw tighten, showmanship fracturing. Jax reappeared, crouched, opened the coin door, and fiddled with something inside. He emerged, shrugged at Victor, and mouthed, "You're good." Victor grasped the plunger a third time, flashing a crooked grin. "Here goes nothing." The arcade lights dimmed, a spotlight hit the table. Victor yanked the rod, released, and a searing crack pierced the air, followed by the smell of burnt metal. Victor jerked as though tugged by invisible strings, eyes bulging. Sparks, literal, not Drew, spattered from the plunger housing. Victor convulsed, mouth locked in mid-scream, until the solenoids popped and the room plunged into darkness. Guests shouted. Someone knocked over a cocktail. When emergency lights flickered on, Victor lay on the floor, motionless, smoke curling from his blazer sleeve. Drew felt time stall. In childhood, arcade deaths occurred only on screens. Here, a man had died where extra lives meant nothing. Celeste knelt beside Victor, shaking. Maya Rivera barked, "Cut the main breaker now!" Jack sprinted to the utility closet. Sirens in the distance began their Doppler arc toward Level 1. Neon Falls PD turned the retro arcade into a cordoned labyrinth of yellow tape within 20 minutes. Officer Donahue, a barrel-chested cop Drew knew from high school nights sneaking into the quarry, recognized him and offered a grim nod but no special access. The uniformed technicians packed up Thunder Tunnel as evidence. Paramedics wheeled Victor Lane out under a silver blanket. Rain hammered the alley behind the arcade, while Drew stood sheltered near a cigarette butt canister. He replayed the scene, rewinding and zooming in, like the slow-mo function on a sports broadcast. Someone had weaponized nostalgia. He wanted to know who. And as luck or deadline pressure would have it, the Chronicle wanted 2,000 words by dawn. He began interviewing those who would talk. Maya and Theo were too busy giving statements. Celeste Bryn sobbed in an ambulance, but confirmed Victor's distrust of corporate rivals. Jack Scarvey hovered near the breaker box, smoking furtively. Drew approached. "Rough night," Drew opened. Jax exhaled smoke through his nostrils. "You could say. You're the electrician. Any idea how that plunger got juiced?" "Equipment failure. Happens." "That simple?" Jax flicked his cigarette into a puddle. "Look, man, I wired the whole place to code. Inspectors signed off. Something like that doesn't just happen. Someone modded the table afterward. Someone with access." "Yeah." Jax gave a thin smile. "Which includes the deceased, by the way." Inside, forensic techs bagged components. Drew pulled out a pocket notebook. His first column about the tragedy would need facts, but his curiosity insisted on the hinge moments. Who had motive to see Victor dead, and who knew enough about pinball guts to hide a killer current? That night, the Chronicle's presses rolled with Drew's piece, Dreams Tilt in Neon Falls. It covered the factual territory, but ended on an open question. In classic arcades, you smack the cabinet to shake a stuck ball free, not to hurt the game. Someone shook back last night and broke more than high scores. The next morning, Detective Sergeant Ileana Hoyt left a voicemail asking Drew to visit the precinct. They met in a conference room that smelled of stale coffee. Hoyt, a compact woman whose posture radiated precision, said, "I've read your column. You were on site during the electrocution. Anything you left out?" Drew relayed every detail. Hoyt listened, pen tapping a silent beat. When he finished, she pushed across a printout. Coroner confirmed death by ventricular fibrillation brought on by a 240-volt surge. We found a modified step-up transformer inside the plunger housing. That transformer was wired to the arcade's supply but only activated when a hidden toggle switched from safe to lethal. "Mechanical sabotage," Drew murmured. "Our suspect list is long. Victor's company was about to IPO. Anybody wanting to tank that could benefit. Rival developers, disgruntled former partners, even family. You dig sources the press might give me hell for approaching. Share what you learn, and maybe Neon Falls sleeps easier." So the nostalgia columnist became an unofficial consultant. He began with Celeste Bryn. They met at a diner whose decor, checkered linoleum, vinyl booths, fit Drew's aesthetic beat, but suddenly felt sinister. Celeste clutched her coffee as though worried it too might be rigged. "Victor racked up enemies like tickets at a skee-ball lane," she said. "But he also made allies. That table was the culmination of everything he loved. Who profits from him being gone?" She ticked them off. Lane of Fire board members who thought he resisted corporate growth. Competitors like Amber Quill. She's the VR wunderkind whose offers he kept turning down. And don't forget the Riveras. If Thunder Tunnel became a national sensation, they'd be franchise royalty. But if something went wrong, lawsuit city. Drew noted body language. Celeste's grief looked genuine, but anxiety could be a mask for guilt. He asked about shipping and storage. The table arrived 3 days before launch, she said. Crated. Victor and Jax unboxed it together. Maya filmed unboxing for socials. You can see it. Nothing lethal installed then. Drew watched the clip on Celeste's phone. Thunder Tunnel emerged pristine, Jax inspecting wiring, while Victor pontificated to camera. No transformer in sight. That meant sabotage happened inside the arcade after arrival. He arranged coffee with Amber Quill at her minimalist office. She was Victor's antithesis, VR goggles on shelves, no physical cabinets. She admitted professional jealousy. Victor wanted old-school artistry. I offered to collaborate, scan his mechanical designs into a VR experience. He refused. But kill him. I'd rather outperform him. Dead rivals can't see you win. Where were you last night? Live streaming a VR tournament in Tokyo. Check the feed. Alibi validated by 100,000 viewers. Drew returned to level 1, reopened after the police lifted the closure for all but the central zone now draped in plastic. Arcade regulars drifted around, subdued. He spotted Leo Scorelord Tanaka, a teen prodigy known for toppling high scores citywide. Leo wore headphones and a Super Metroid t-shirt. You were here launch night? Drew asked. Leo nodded. Wanted that first crack at Thunder Tunnel. Instead, got trauma. Notice anyone messing with the table beforehand? Leo hesitated. There was a lady in a red leather jacket. Not Celeste. She kept circling the table, snapping pictures of the underside. Could be a fan. Maybe, but she had a screwdriver poking out her bag. Back at his apartment, Drew cross-referenced social media photos. In crowd shots, a figure in a red jacket appeared. Short, copper-colored hair, freckles. He posted a query on the Chronicle site seeking identification. Within hours, a tipster emailed, "Looks like Robin Finch, freelance hardware modder, ex-employee of Lane of Fire." Drew dug up court filings. Robin had sued Victor for unpaid royalties 2 years prior and lost. Motive: resentment. He fed the intel to Detective Hoyt. 2 days later, Robin sat in an interrogation room. She admitted being at the party but denied sabotage. I was hired by Theo Rivera to troubleshoot latency on vintage cabinets, she said. Never touched the pinball table. Besides, I don't enjoy a 20 to life high score. Hoyt confirmed Robin's alibi. At 7 p.m., the approximate time the transformer would need mounting, Robin was repairing a Defender PCB at the opposite side of the arcade, on camera. The investigation felt like a joystick stuck in neutral. Drew decided to recapitulate. Access, motive, skill. Jax had access and skill. Motive, maybe money. Owners had access and potential motive around liability, but less technical skill, though Maya's degree in industrial design meant she could solder a joint. He arranged a late evening interview with Theo in the shuttered arcade. Fluorescent work lights cast harsh shadows. Theo looked exhausted. I loved Victor, he said. He was giving us cachet. Insurance might cover losses, not reputation. Yet the table's absence creates mystique. People queue for tragedy. Theo bristled. Drew noticed sweat along his hairline, though the room was cool. He pivoted. Mind if I check your breaker panel? Drew asked casually. Curious how the transformer was fed. Theo accompanied him to the closet. Inside, labelled circuits mapped the arcade. One switch, marked T-tunnel, wore red electrical tape, but another unlabelled breaker was freshly scored by a screwdriver. Police combed this, Drew said. Theo swallowed. Did they? Later, Drew sat at home, savouring a root beer float while old intuition buzzed. Something about that breaker. If Victor died when he pulled the plunger, the transformer had to be live then. But witnesses remembered Jax opening the coin door moments earlier. Had he flipped a hidden toggle inside? Drew rewatched the unboxing footage again. Jax's hands moved with brisk competence. He saw something new, a skull tattoo on Jax's inner wrist, partially covered by a rubber glove. Scrolling through Robin Finch's social posts, Drew froze. Same skull tattoo, only mirrored. In one Halloween photo, Robin and Jax posed together, arms around each other. They were siblings. That connection had been absent from every interview. Drew called Detective Hoyt at 2 a.m. "Check Jax Garvey's family tree," he said. "Looks like he and Robin Finch are brother and sister." By dawn, officers had Jax in cuffs. In the interrogation room, evidence mounted. Solder residue on his workbench matched the alloy on the transformer leads. A payment of $50,000 had landed in his crypto wallet from an anonymous source routed through shells, but chain analysis traced it back to Quanta Fun Corp., parent company of Amber Quill's studio. The corporation had motive to ruin Victor's IPO. They'd found an insider, Jax, willing to plant a lethal transformer. Robin's presence served as cover. If someone saw a Finch near the table, suspicion would land on her old grudge instead. Confronted, Jax broke. "They said just wreck the machine," he muttered. "Scare Victor, not kill him." But the wattage got miscalculated. He'd installed the transformer during a staged latency fix 2 hours before the party, running leads to the plunger coil. The toggle inside the coin door kept it dormant until he activated it while pretending to adjust settings pre-launch. When Jax left the door ajar, Victor reached for the plunger and the current surged. Amber Quill, confronted with the payment trail, lawyered up. Corporate culpability would unwind over months of litigation, but for Neon Falls, the arcade reopened with a memorial cabinet, Victor's original quick switch, free to play. Thunder Tunnel, evidentiary scars patched, was returned weeks later, glass polished, power once again benign. Drew attended the reopening. Children mashed buttons beside parents chasing ghosted memories. A plaque near the pinball table read, "In memory of Victor Lane, game over but not forgotten." It included a line from his last interview. "We never really grow up, we just unlock new stages." Maya Rivera saw Drew scribbling notes and approached. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For reminding people nostalgia isn't just about the past. It's about what we do next." Drew smiled. "Then let's call this the continue screen." Later, his column ran under the headline, "When the Past Zaps Back." He wrote about the fragile voltage between innovation and obsession, the way quests for next-level glory sometimes cross the line into darkness. He ended with an image, neon reflections in a puddle outside Level 1, rippling with every step but never fading, a reminder that memories, like electricity, can illuminate or destroy depending on whose hands hold the switch.